Check, check, check. There we go. All right, let's see. All right. What is going on, guys? We're just getting started. 1 second. 1 second. Got a lot to look at. Wow, there's a big squall moving south of Philly. Interesting. Some snow moved through New York as well. Okay. Some snow in northern Minnesota. What's going on, guys? I just started stream. 1 second, we'll get started in a second. Man, I'm tired. Lots of traveling for me. Happy to be home, but I'm still busy. What's going on, Christine? Hi from Tennessee. What's going on, everyone? Is Kentucky going to get snow soon? Possibly. We're about to go through all this. I'm just letting some people get in chat. I've only been live for about 3 minutes, so I'm just going to wait 1 second, and then we will get rocking and rolling. Yeah, we'll get started in just a second. Long Island snow is possible. Kai, I appreciate that. Oh my gosh. I have been in Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Philly in the last 4 days. I am so tired of driving. I have so much work still to do tomorrow, but then a long weekend. I will be going back live every single night, though, and posting every single day. Till, I think, I'll take 2 days off in January. But TFX and Brittany, I appreciate you guys. Snowing right now in Maryland. I know. Squalls moved through. I live just north of Philly. We got some snow, too. These snow squalls are putting snow down in South Jersey. They put almost an inch down in areas surrounding Philly. A little bit of dusting to a half inch down in Philly. Yep, snowing in Maryland. I went to Pittsburgh. The beginning of this week, it was snowing. And I drove to Baltimore. It was snowing the whole time to Baltimore, still snowing. And then I drove back up here to Philly, and it's still snowing. It's been snowing everywhere I've been for 4 days straight. I'm like, I don't even trust my weather up anymore. Thanks you. All right, we're gonna get started in a second, guys. How's Southern Snow looking? Southern Snow looking like? We're gonna get into that right now. What is up, Sam? Loki, Road Zero Guide. What are we looking at for Baltimore, Maryland? Well, you guys are getting a little bit of snow in there right now. I was just in Baltimore before I drove back up to Philly. All right, let's look at what's going on. Actually, you know what? Let's go and look first off at our national blend of models, just to have a more tempered expectation here. Winter, total snow, not in centimeters. What is this? This is America. Inches. We use inches. All right. Because we like to be different, I guess. Tommy, Julie, perfectly, Jen, thank you guys. So here's our national blend of models. Let's first look at this. This is our OOZ national blend of models. I want to show you guys something. This is moving through. Let's just move this forward just 1 week. 1 week. Very interesting. This is one of your best forecasts you can look at. It takes all of the models, combines them together, averages them out. This is a safe model to look at. This is a good model to look at. The national blend. And what do we notice? Look at the dark grays. This is going to be your more likely area to see snow. What do we see? Wow. Also, some good snow over here through the Rockies and into the plains, northern Texas. Obviously, you got some lake effect. Look at that. That is crazy. It really wants to put snow down through the Carolinas. Let's start looking at some stuff. Here's our latest GFS here. Leanne, I appreciate you. It's Fair up, Alabama. Listen, look, we're going to go through it right now, and then I'll get to questions. Yeah. Might be starting a new job. Watch my town get 1 foot of snow. Yeah, right. What's up, Sep? Here's our latest GFS. We're going to go through what I think is most likely to happen, but we're going to just look at the latest models, and then you know how it goes. I don't take questions and all that good stuff. I usually would go live longer. I'll probably live like only an hour and a half tonight just because I've been literally nonstop on the road, and I'm exhausted. I got 4 hours of sleep last night. Woke up at 4:30 a.m. in Pittsburgh and had to be at freaking Baltimore at like 9. It was wild. Okay, here we go. This weekend, we may have a snow game. You guys can see this is Saturday is when the coldest air of the entire season by far is going to begin plunging into the states. Here it comes. This isn't the polar jet dipping. This is an extremely negative EPO, meaning our jet stream up here near the Arctic is just going to absolutely plummet south, way farther than it should be, while having a negative NAO out here, which typically helps get us some active storm tracks. So here we go. This is what we've been talking about for a while. Plummeting down. We're probably going to see some Appalachian snow from this up towards the Allegheny Plateau, Catskills, Adirondacks, all that good stuff. This right here, first what I want to show you guys, and I think the Euro, which is a better cold air model, actually even has more cold air. But, I mean, this is almost inevitable. We're 96 hours out. They're really good with cold temperatures. Look at some of these wind chills down here. You know, I mean, we're just in the negatives. We're just in the negatives everywhere. Negative wind chills, like, everywhere. This is always the best thing to look at. Look at our temperature anomalies. This is happening. This is inevitable. This is happening in the coldest week on average in the Northern Hemisphere. For this type of cold air event to happen in next week, which is on average the coldest week of the entire year in our hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere, is just wild. You can see this is you just take the entire country basically, except for, you know, very, very far west, and we're talking negative 10 to negative 30 to potentially some areas negative 40 degrees below average. This is going to be insane. And what we think is going to happen is another one's going to push in right behind it. So, and another one, right? Okay. So this is happening. This cold air, once we get into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, oh my gosh. The Euro typically does better with cold air. And look at the Euro. Well, here's our latest one. Look at the Euro. Look at the Texas coast. Look at what's going on down here. You guys don't have to worry about being cold enough for snow. 30 to 40 degrees below average down here in January. I mean, everyone is 20 to 30 degrees below average. This is just insanity to look at. You can see this moving out towards the mid-Atlantic. Close to 50 degrees below average. These temperatures are insane. Pittsburgh's going to be like negative 15, negative 20 feels like. We can look at what our actual temperatures would be like. No wind chill. Yeah, Pittsburgh's going to have highs of like 4 degrees, 6 degrees. This is just wild. But this is happening. It's inevitable. You've got 28 degrees down here. This is not wind chill. 28 degrees down here in San Antonio, Texas. I mean, this is crazy. Anyways, sorry. I just can't even believe that the cold air we're about to get. I don't even think a lot of people realize it. A lot of people, we're going to need a lot of dripping faucets, guys. Let me get into what I think is going to happen with the snow. Beck, Ashley, EC, Patrick, Mary, Walker Bait, Nora. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys. Oh, my God. Thank you, guys. Brittany, I appreciate you. Can we talk about Sunday traveling southeast New Jersey? Yeah, we can talk about Sunday. We're going to talk about all that. Here's the latest Euro. Now okay, so here's our first snow event we'll talk about. The Euro and GFS have a different look here. I talked about it in my video today. The GFS wants a lot more energy, with this snow system moving through the mid-Atlantic. The Euro wants a little bit less. Now, this is the 18Z. We'll know what's going to happen tomorrow with the 00Z. The Euro latest update wants a good streak of 2 to 4 inches through Jersey. I mean, just through coastal, basically New England and coastal mid-Atlantic. We're going to get accumulating snow. It's almost inevitable. Canadian, Icon, GFS, Euro all show it within we're like 72 hours out. It's like it'd be very unlikely. There's a small chance it shifts all the way off coast, but I'd say that's like a 10% chance. I'd say a 90% chance we get coastal snow all the way up, including Jersey. The Euro likes more snow in Jersey. Now, the GFS does like a little bit more. The GFS, we talked about this in my video. The GFS puts a lot more energy on this system. You can just see right here. This is our 500 millibar vorticity. This is just a deeper low pressure. This would have a lot more lift, a lot heavier snowfall rates. And that is why the GFS, I can almost guarantee you we're going to get a blend of the Euro into the GFS. The GFS wants, freaking 6 to 8 inches up the coast. And this would be a fun little, although I think it would fall before the Eagles-Rams game. There's potential that it would be like a snow game. I think we're going to get a mix of these. That's why I think 3 to 4 inches up the coast is probably the most accurate we could project right now. Really quickly, I just want to look at what our Euro blend. I just want to go through these storms real quick, guys, and then I'm going to get into chat. What does our Euro Ensemble think for this? Probability of 3+ inches. It gives us like about a 50% chance. It's almost 100% chance for 1 inch. But that's not what I want to look at. Probabilities. I want to look at surface, winter, inches. So yeah, the ensembles want a minimum of 2 to 3 inches up the coast here. So that should be fun. I do think Jersey's going to end up with more snow than PA, but we'll have to see. Especially South Central Jersey. I think it's going to do really good with this one. All right. So that moves out. We still have this absolutely insane look of snow in Florida, snow in Texas, snow in southern Louisiana, Mobile, Alabama. Guys, this isn't... I still wouldn't bet on this, but it's 100% realistic that this could happen. I'm telling you right now, it is 100% realistic that this could happen, okay? Because we're about 96 hours away, not even from this cold air hitting the Gulf, and we have tons of model consensus. This Arctic air is going to collide with the Gulf. And Mezzo, what is going on? Mezzo, I'm back. What is going on, Mezzomat? Guys, MESO, MATT. Show him some love. If you don't follow him, he is awesome. I'm a part of his team. I probably have some mods in here helping. But yeah, he does what I do. And he does it full time. Chef, I appreciate the sub. Thank you. XVZ, perfectly. Nancy, Jennifer, Shannon. Oh my gosh, I missed a bunch. Thank you guys. Sorry if I'm a little bit off. I haven't streamed in like 3 days. But yes, the confidence in this air, let's just show you what this air is. The confidence in this air hitting the Gulf is very high. This blue line right here, this is going to be our mid-level temperatures. That's your freezing air. It's because you don't want just cold air on the surface. You need cold air aloft. You need cold air aloft for snow. If you have cold air on the surface and you have warm air aloft, you're going to get freezing rain. We don't want that. Now, I think parts of Florida might get some freezing rain, but we're not going to get there yet. This is cold air aloft. You're going to have cold air at the surface, and what this tells me right here is you're going to have some cold air aloft. This is the GFS. Let's go into the Euro. I think the Euro is probably going to look at this cold air a little bit better. The way this sweeps down here, and the way this wants to go neutrally tilt it into potentially negatively tilt it with freezing air aloft. This blue line right here is freezing air aloft, and we know we'll have freezing air at the surface. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. I'm nervous for like Jacksonville and Gainesville and some areas down here, maybe with some freezing rain, but we're going to get into that in a little bit. Owen, Lynn, Mr. World, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. But yes, so, this event, let me get back here and let's get to our precipitation. Let me tell you what I think is most likely. Well, I don't want to tell you what I think is most likely going to happen, but a couple scenarios. I do think it's possible. Now, if this storm were to do something crazy like this, and what's funny is this 18Z almost agrees exactly with the 12Z of the Euro, so it's really starting to just agree with itself. This would be super significant. This would put snow down in some areas that haven't seen this much snow in, I don't know, decades. coastal South Carolina, coastal North Carolina. I mean, the panhandle of Florida, Mobile. I don't know if we get down to Mobile and New Orleans and Houston, but it's not completely out of the question because we're about 96 hours out from a cold air event that we have complete model consensus on. So we'd have to see a super fast de-amplification of this troughing event over the next 24 to 36 hours for us to suddenly just take any chance of snow away from the south. So, and again, what do I like to look at? Does our GFS have a low pressure down here? Does our GFS like that look? You know, again, the GFS 96 hours out, having this just absolute blow up of moisture in the Gulf. This is where we like the GFS. We trust the GFS down here with moisture. So, again, and wow, I didn't even realize the 18Z GFS and 18Z Euro agree with each other now too. This is crazy, guys. Now, I was more excited for this to become a nor'easter. I don't think it's gonna. And we can take a look. And I'll get to your questions, guys. Give me like 2 more minutes. You know, for this to become a nor'easter, we can watch where the event's going to unfold down here. We don't have any system to the north. We don't have anything really digging into this to help it tilt. We're going to have a lot of cold air smashing into some warm, moist air down here in the Gulf. That's going to create our low pressure system. That's going to create our snowstorm, or just our winter storm in general. It's going to be ice and rain on the south side. I don't see any sort of mechanism for tilt with that. I do see it with the system after it, though. So I don't think this one rides up the coast. But this is looking really, really good for some crazy far southern snow. And I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh, no, I'm not going to get snow in Atlanta. I'm not going to get... It's all staying so far south, blah, 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 blah. Also, you know, what these models usually still do in this time frame is pull. I wouldn't be surprised if this pulled the snow a little bit farther north. I know the people down there in the south are like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. You're still a chance up here if you're like through Charlotte and stuff, you know, to get a little bit. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens with that. I wouldn't be surprised. We can really quickly take a look at our Kuchera snow totals, what the GFS thinks for this. It's almost agreeing with the Euro, except for it's kind of erasing this middle one. We'll look at the Euro. You know, it just wouldn't shock me. It just happened so much if this snow boundary shifted to the north and suddenly it was up here. It just happens a lot. The trough pulls back a little bit. This would be historic. This big of snow, this like touching the Gulf like this. I don't know. I think this would be a lot of sleet. The potential's there though. The potential's there. And this is some good snow again through the Rockies here and through the plains, Colorado. Some in western Oklahoma, western Kansas. So, anyways, okay, I'm gonna get the chat right now. Let me look at one more thing. And you know, pushing forward, I don't want to go into La La Land, but again, pushing forward, it just shows another mega blizzard. The only reason I'm showing you that, guys, is because I was talking about it since the end of December, how insane our winter looks like it's gonna be in January. And it's just lining up like that. And you know, we can go and look at, here's through the 26th, look at that cold air out east. Here's through the 30th, the end of January, we're still below average, much of the country, including out east. I don't know what to tell you. Let's look at our precipitation. Look at that. Below average in the coldest month of the year, above average precipitation. This is just going to be, people are going to get cold air they haven't gotten in a while and snow they haven't gotten in a while. Not everyone, but we're going to continue to remain active here. 2-3 more winter storms out east is possible, maybe even more before January ends. So, all right, let me get to chat. I don't even know what to say anymore. This is just going to be, this next week is just going to be, the next couple weeks are just going to be wild. It's going to be a lot of action, guys. Like I literally don't know what to say. Here, I'm going to put this on while I answer your guys' questions just so you can see the probability, the latest Euro probability of getting an inch or more of snow. It has... Just so you guys know, this is like a 50 to a 70% chance of seeing an accumulation of snow right now. What? There you go. All right. I am looking at chat. Poppy, thank you. Poppy, what's going on? Misty, what's going on? Julie, what's going on? Thank you, guys. Oliver, the toy poodle, I appreciate the sub. Thank you very much. Chris, I appreciate you. Dex, B, Gennaro, thank you, guys. Okay, I'm going to go back and forth from my YouTube chat to my TikTok chat. How much snow is Philly getting? You know, Philly could get a surprise amount of snow on Sunday. I would say to be safe, 1 to 3 inches. because the euros typically are better model. The euros being more conservative with it, so we're gonna listen to our euro right now. I don't see anything. I think the euro, yeah, the GFS is really pushing, really pumping up that low, but we'll have to see. Mr. World, Jenny, I appreciate you guys. You think Charlotte's getting snow? It's possible. Obviously, these models want to hold it to the south, but we constantly see within the last 48, 72 hours sometimes that snow line moving north. So it's not out of the question for that storm, which would be, that time frame would be Tuesday into Wednesday maybe coming up. Emma, Derek, I appreciate you guys. Where the coldest temp's going to be next week, it really does look like, this region, Northern Plains, Central Plains into the Ohio Valley is going to really be cranking. Although, I don't know, the Euro wants to put negative 40-degree temperatures down here as well. Or, sorry, 40-degree, not 40-degree below average down here as well. A lot of the central U.S., I think, is going to see the coldest. But we could still have some records broken out here because there's some models. There's some that want to bring, some of that cold air farther out east. But, the plains. Megan, Amy, Hannah, appreciate you guys. What do you think about the Canadian model? Is it ever accurate enough to trust? No, it's like one of the worst models. It's right every now and then, but so I don't want to say like what the Canadian model shows couldn't happen, because sometimes the Canadian model is right, but it's right like 10% of the time. So I don't I know people were looking at this. Yeah, it wants to give us an absolute slapper of a nor'easter on Sunday. I would be so shocked. I hope it happens. That's where I live. I hope it happens. I want that. Yeah, and then this would be like 2 storm of the centuries here. This would be just, no. It could happen, but I'm not going to, I would never put, I would never bet on that to happen. Subwave is going on. 3 more subs. Hannah, Derek, Ari, Brandy, I appreciate you. I live south of Dallas, Texas, and missed the last storm. Do you think we could get snow? It's possible. It's 100% possible. Yes, XVZZ. We have actually consensus now. The last snowstorm we had, we didn't have consensus on the GFS and Euro really until like 48 hours out for what was going to happen in the Mid-Atlantic. We have consensus like 5 days out right now with the GFS and Euro and Canadian, but Canadian wants more bullets. But we have consensus through all models of where they think it wants to put snow, which is interesting. Which means it's kind of a high confidence scenario we have pretty far out now, right now. Ari, Brandy, Melissa, appreciate you guys. How much snow will New York City get Sunday, Monday? I can't tell you that. The safe bet would be a couple. The safe bet would be a couple to a few inches, because again, it's weird. It's almost like the Euro and GFS agree more on this storm that's 5-6 days out than the one that's just 3. Our Euro likes a couple inches, 2 to 3. I would hope for 2 to 3 in New York, because you don't want to be disappointed if we don't see the GFS. The Euro does better with snowfall at this latitude. So I'd say it's right 7 to 8 out of 10 times. So the GFS could be right. I'd say 20 to 30% chance the GFS is right. And if the GFS is right, New York could see over 6 inches of snow. I'd give it a 20 to 30% chance the GFS is right. Fairhope, Alabama, finally going to get something. I don't know where that is. Where's Fairhope, Alabama? I'm guessing southern Alabama. A lot of you people that are really, really far south are always disappointed that you don't get snow. But, you know what I mean? Look, you live on the Gulf of Mexico. You're not supposed to get snow. But, yeah, I mean, there's potential for Fairhope, Alabama. Yeah, there is, which is just even crazy to say. There's potential. On the coast, though, you can see some snow on the beach up north, in the northern states. Down there, it's going to be tough. But, I mean, we see it. We see some consensus on these models wanting to put snow down to the Gulf. It's wild. It's not out of the question, which is crazy to say. It's not out of the question right now. What does the action look like for Baltimore in the next few days? Yeah, Baltimore's not a bad spot for this little system that wants to move through too. Again, the Euro likes 2 to 4 a strip of 2 to 4 inches up the coast. The GFS add 3 inches to it. It likes 5 to 8 inches up the coast. So I like to take the middle ground. I don't know. A 2 to 3. I think the Euro's handling it better. We can see what's happening with the Euro. The Euro's moving across. So as we get into Sunday, there's nothing really I don't see anything really amplifying this low that much. The GFS likes this thing to suddenly just crank up as it's moving up the coast. It's possible. It's possible it's going to start pulling up some moisture. And a little bit of warm air up here, and it's going to amplify that low pressure as it moves up the coast. So it's a tough read, but we're getting snow. It's a tough read. I would say 2 to 3 up the coast is the most likely scenario right now. I hope the GFS is correct. I'm up in Philly. I like snow. Laddie, what's going on? Megan, Mr. World, I appreciate you guys. Elias, Mary Lowe, Melissa, Brandy, thank you guys. How much is West Virginia gonna get? Tough to tell right now. The Euro down the road does want to put just an absolute banger of a snow system up in the Northeast, starting basically in West Virginia or in Kentucky through West Virginia. Too far out though. The GFS has its own version of events here. I'm not even going to entertain the Canadian right now, even though it could be right. The GFS the GFS and Euro both have just an obnoxious amount of snow falling through here about 7 to 10 days out through this corridor up here. So, and they both have snow falling through this corridor about 5 days out. And they both have a little bit of snow falling through this corridor about 2 days out. So the GFS and Euro are agreeing on snowstorms through 1, 2, 3 right now. So there's just consensus of winter storm after winter storm after winter storm. Now, this could shift north, and then suddenly you've got Charlotte and Atlanta and everything in it again. Again, until we're about 72 to 96 hours out. So we're with this, like I said, we kind of know where the snow's going to fall. This snow's going to fall up the coast. They just have the GFS wants more snow through this region, and the Euro wants a little bit less. The Euro does better at this latitude. So, we're gonna let the Euro speak for us on that. So I'd say 2 to 3 up the coast, 2 to 4 in some areas. Lex, Stacer, Aaron, Leanne, thank you guys. When is it? When is snow supposed to start? Sunday in Jersey. Yeah. So the timing right now, you can kind of see here, would be moving in potentially around the afternoon time. 2 p.m. This would be an afternoon into an evening event. Right now, it looks like the snow would move in the afternoon, and then it would stop snowing right before the Eagles game. I know some people would want a snow game, but it looks like it'd be done by the Eagles game, but we have to see. Middle Georgia, yeah. Again, that snowstorm in the south could shift north. We see it happen all the time. I know people on the coast really don't want it to. They're all excited now. New Orleans is like, we're getting snow. Suzette, what's going on? I appreciate you. Art, Aaron, Stacer, thank you guys. Leanne, Lex. Bring more snow to Middle Tennessee, please. And listen, we have snowstorm after snowstorm after snowstorm after snowstorm after snowstorm out east. We're gonna see this continue. We're gonna see we have the right kind of look with our teleconnections and with this insane cold air troughing that all these models are agreeing on. Sharon, I appreciate you. I am gonna do a sub only live at I think at 10:30, 10:40 just for a little bit so I can make sure I get to all my subs questions. So yeah, about 45 minutes, something like that. I'm going to be living in Northeast Atlanta. Doesn't get much, if anything, again. Are you going to be living? Well, Gianna, that's tough for you guys. You guys didn't get snow for like almost 8 years. And now you want it 2 times in a span of 2 weeks? You're getting greedy down there now. You're like, bring it on. Anything coming for Cincinnati, Ohio? Listen, there's the GFS and Euro do show this type of event. Show this type of event right here. The GFS actually has it polling much farther to the north, at the end of January, sometime between the 27th and the 30th. So that would be just about 10 days out where actually the Canadian, I think, sees that too. So the end of January looks to potentially bring a blizzard into the Midwest. We'll see. We'll have to see if that look holds. But there's a little bit of consensus on it already. I don't want to look too much into something that's that far out though. Lindsay, what's going on? Appreciate it, Lindsay. Everyone loves to rain on our parade when it comes to winter precip. Where, Atlanta? Nick. NAM model shows nothing Sunday. Okay. Do you want to know? Do you want to know why I don't care that the NAM model shows nothing Sunday? The NAM model, remember, said that there would be no snow in Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, or North Carolina in our last winter storm. There was like 7 to 8 inches in northern Mississippi. There was like 2 to 3 inches in Birmingham, Alabama. 3 to 4 inches around parts of Atlanta, Georgia. Upstate South Carolina got 1 to 2 inches, very far north and west though. And then in the Appalachian Mountains and up towards Greensboro and in North Carolina, they got anywhere from 1 all the way up to 7 inches of snow. I know Charlotte kind of got gypped, but yeah, the NAM said 0 for any of them. The NAM was like so obnoxiously wrong. I don't want to look at it for the rest of winter. And the NAM held it. The NAM was like, no, I'm sticking with it. Every update, it stuck with it, and it was completely wrong. So let's look at what does the NAM think for this. I'm not going to take it seriously, but what is the NAM? What's our NAM looking like? Yeah, let's look at what it shows here. So it just, yeah, I mean, it just, well, it looks like this is where it would want to bring the snow in right here at the end of the run. I don't know what it's doing. I don't know what the NAM's doing. The NAM has been super weird lately. Yeah, and then it shows a ton of vorticity and what looks to be a low pressure here on our vorticity map. And look, it doesn't show any moisture. I don't know. It's acting weird. Let's pretend the NAM doesn't exist for the rest of winter, guys. How about that? Watch the NAM be right. I'd be so upset. It's not going to be. Any Orlando possibility for next week? For flurries, maybe. Flurries. Accumulation? I don't think so. Flurries of snow could be falling in Orlando, though. Can you talk about the East Coast because the storm is coming out way? Haven't I been talking about the East Coast like this entire live? You know, I mean, this is a real possibility. I think this is more likely to shift north. But the last GFS actually wanted to shift this offshore. If we see this trough really, really hold strength and this cold air really, really push as far south as we think, you could get some of this winter weather actually pushing off the coast, which would be unfortunate for everyone. Sometimes when it's too cold, you don't get the snow. I'm telling you, it's weird. I'm telling you. Pittsburgh, yeah, I mean, you know, this is going to drop a little bit of snow for you probably, but maybe a little Saturday, Sunday. But the big snowstorms for Pittsburgh are again, probably closer to 9-10 days out. I was just in Pittsburgh. It was snowing. We had like an inch. So, upstate New York. Again, there's no. If you're talking about kind of like pushing inland, New England, into this region, Ohio Valley, Midwest, these systems, because of this troughing, you can see out here the Euro and the GFS between the 27th and 30th, like a snow system up here. But right now, guys, when you get, let me show you something real quickly. Let me show you why this is happening. Here is why you're not getting a big snowstorm through the Midwest in the next week. Look at where this jet stream is. Look at this vertical, and then this is our jet stream diving. Okay, up here is going to be basic. You're going to have a high pressure up here. High pressure. You're gonna have converging winds blowing down on the surface, bringing the coldest record cold temperatures to some of this region, and then you're gonna have a cold, warm air boundary down here that wants to create low pressure systems and wants to create convection, which is where your storms happen. And then depending on how this jet stream holds, sometimes they want to ride up the coast. To have this type of a jet stream look and to expect to have the jet stream set up like this. And to expect a storm to just move through the jet stream, and here we go. Here's all your snow. You got to wait a little longer. This is the storm track. The storm tracks are going to follow the jet stream. So as we push out a little further, watch what happens with our jet stream. Oh, look at that. Now look at our jet stream. Now suddenly you can get a storm track through here. But if we were to rewind, and there's a lot of model consensus on this. Right now, your jet stream, this is going to be your storm track. So I know people think like, oh, this you can maybe just like a blizzard will magically pop up on one of the next model runs. Not unless every single model where we have tons of model consensus is completely wrong about our jet stream track, which they can see. They can see a jet stream adjustment and pathing like 200 to 250 hours out. So again, this is kind of another way to show it. Okay, here, boom, like this. Okay, these are your mid-level winds. This is the middle of the troposphere where all the weather happens. This is your flow of winds. You're not going to have a bunch of moisture pulled through here, get pulled through the jet stream, and then dumped up here in, inland New England in the Midwest. Your storms are going to be following the path of this jet stream like this. So as we move forward and our jet stream wobbles a little bit, look at that. Now you can suddenly get kind of what we call a zonal flow through here. And then suddenly maybe you can get some storms up through this region. And this is actually where the GFS and Euro at the end of this, look at this. This is actually where they want, am I on the Euro right now? Yeah. This is actually where right here, where they want a big snowstorm up towards the Midwest and in inland New England, right here. Your jet stream's a little bit farther to the north. You can get some action up here. Not when it's sitting down there in the south like this. Not when it's sitting down here in the south. This is where your winter weather is going to happen. So again, when the jet stream's down there, all this emptiness up here, this is a high pressure. Not the whole thing, but this is a high pressure. Okay, you're not going to get as much convection, as much winter weather storminess up there. So, and that's not just going to suddenly change. So I think 9, 10 days, 7 to 10, we'll say, that can change. But you can see look at the path of these storms. You can actually really see it on this. Right here, you have your blue isobars and your red isobars. Okay, this is where the jet stream's traveling right here. And that's where you can see a lot of that weather's happening. See, all along the jet stream. And then suddenly our jet stream adjusts, and then you get storms farther inland and up to the north. So it's not just going to magically, the jet stream's not just going to magically move 1,000 miles. And that's why there's model consensus on a very southern snowstorm, because there's high confidence the jet stream's going to be sweeping down there right over the Gulf. And we can look a lot farther out for a jet stream than we can for local snow. What's Virginia's snowfall looking like? Well, Virginia's a really big state. So if you're near the coast, you have a much better chance. You could get some central to northern with this system that moves through. Again, on the Euro, this isn't putting much snow anywhere, a little bit. Coastal, southeastern, depending. I do like the way, I still think this is going to shift slightly north, this Euro run. So central to eastern Virginia could get in on snow action from this storm next week, Tuesday into Wednesday. You can see where the snow line is. I do think we could see this shift back inland. And if it did shift inland, we might see more of a negatively tilting trough too. If this storm shifted inland, I'd expect more snow than this, like 1 or 2 to 5 inches. I'd expect more snow if this shifted inland, because that'd mean you'd have a negatively tilting trough. I can't remember who I said. Matthew, Leanne, Lex, Aaron. Ours is at Sharon Lindsay. Okay, yeah. Thank you, guys. Do you know what model or anything the Weather Channel or Apple uses? Because they are both different and aren't even showing that cold in Middle Georgia. That's the problem, isn't it? They're all different. And if you look at it at 2 in the morning, or if you look at it at 8 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon, they're going to show something different. Because they're looking at different models, or they're looking at the national blend, and it's changing constantly. You should not ever look at precip on your weather app that's more than 4 days out. If it's more than 4 days out, it's 9 out of 10 times not going to happen, or it's not going to be as much rain or as much snow as it's forecasting. You might as well just make it up if it's 4 days out on a weather app. Sometimes it'll be correct, but again, a broken clock's right twice a day. So there's no point in looking at it. People will come in here on like a Wednesday and be like, "Oh, my weather app says next Monday I'm gonna get 5 inches of snow," and I'm like, I would put $1,000 that you don't get 5 inches of snow next Monday, every single time. I'd make so much money. Alyssa, John, Hannah, Alyssa, what I do is look at all the model runs and say, what are the odds? What are our chances that event unfolds? Right now, our chances are way up of our southern snow event, very southern snow event, because we have consensus across the models now on the cold air troughing reaching the Gulf, and on that, the GFS is good with understanding where moisture is going to be in the Gulf this time frame out. So these are the type of things where I'm like, okay, well, our confidence, it's not, this was looking very unrealistic before. Now this is looking much more realistic. Yeah, if it negatively tilts like that, yeah, it's gonna pop off. Just Apple weather's whack. Do their best. I'm really surprised to see. Let me go back to our 18Z of the GFS. Wow. This is another storm that wants to tilt right when it gets offshore. This would be big. This is just a crazy winter pattern moving forward, guys. I don't even know what to tell you. Poppy, I appreciate you. Odds of the storm shifting far enough north for Huntersville, Alabama to get back in the game. It's possible. I mean, we're talking about over 100. We're talking about around 120 hours out still. Not impossible. I think that might be a little far north. I'd expect this to move a couple 100 miles. I don't know about that far. Yeah, it's possible. It is. Last Friday, they said we're going to get 3 inches, and we didn't get a single flake. Exactly. What could you say about Northampton, PA? What do you think we will get this weekend? Where's Northampton? I live in PA. I don't even know where Northampton is. You guys are always testing me. I guess no one knows where Northampton is, unless it's one word. Yeah, honestly, I think Philly and up towards Trenton, southeastern PA is likely to get more snow than you guys with this Sunday event, just because it's going to be really, really close to the coast. So I wouldn't expect much. I mean, again, maybe 2 to 3 inches if you're lucky, but we'll see. Sometimes the GFS beats the Euro out at that latitude. It happens every now and then. Like I said, 20 to 30% of the time, the GFS will win. And usually when the GFS wins, that means you get 3 to 4 more inches of snow. 3 more inches. Alyssa, Poppy, and David Ross, I appreciate you guys. Any explanation for the jet stream? I feel like this has been the norm for the past 10 years. What do you mean you feel like this has been the norm? We just had 3 to 4 inches of snow in Atlanta. Georgia hadn't seen snow in like 6 to 8 years. That only happened because our jet stream dipped much farther south than it had in recent history, and we had some moisture timed up with it. You hear about the jet stream and the polar vortex every year, but that's just because it exists every year. It doesn't act the same every year. This type of dive, I mean, we had a similar dive in the jet stream. We had a similar dive in the jet stream in 2021 when Texas got the big freeze. This has the potential to be, well, this would be worse. The only reason I think this isn't going to be as bad for Texas is because of where our jet stream's diving down. In 2021, it dove down over here, so it brought the coldest temperatures into here. The Euro still thinks you could get temperatures 40 degrees below average in Texas, though, so that's a little concerning. It's not very typical to see our Arctic air being pulled, right up to the Gulf, having 20-degree actual temperatures in the low 20s. In potentially Houston, New Orleans, Mobile, Alabama. So, I mean, it's probably going to happen once or twice a decade. But what's more significant about this event isn't really the jet stream dipping that far south. It's the jet stream dipping that far south in the 3rd week of January. The 3rd week of January in the northern hemisphere is the coldest week of the entire year, historically on average. Having a super polar plunge jet stream in the third week of January is how you break records, and we're expecting some records to be broken through this region. This timing, it's beautiful timing. Ali Megamove, what's going on? Hayes, Ali PPD, I appreciate you guys. Yeah, it's kind of when this is happening. That's why you see potential for snow like in crazy places down there. That's not normal. You really need a little bit of luck on your side if you want that to happen. All winter we have missed out on big snow. I'm itching for a big storm. It's been like 3 years since our last one. Jeffrey, where are you? Listen, I came into this winter with... I didn't come into this winter with high confidence of snow in the south, actually, but no one did. Not the climate, NOAA, CPC, Climate Prediction Center, but that's because we were looking like we were going to go into a moderate La Nina. We're just now entering a very weak La Nina, and that kind of changed things. We've been sitting in Enso neutral, and that opens up the door for any sort of weather to happen in the south. So this is anything but what most people predicted. As we got into December, early December, and I saw how the pattern was setting up, I said we might see 1 or 2 snowstorms in the south this year. And I talked about it a lot in third or fourth week of December, what this was looking like. People were asking a lot, we get snow in the south, and I said, I put a video out saying I think we were going to get 1, 2, maybe 3 snowstorms in the south. And of course I got like 1,000 comments saying I was an idiot and it was never going to happen. But yeah, I think we're going to get our second one here, and it's not out of the question we could get a third. We'll see what happens with this troughing down the line. As we exit January, there's a little bit of consensus of another really, really steep dip. Our EPO, which is our Eastern Pacific Oscillation, wants to go very negative again. What a negative EPO represents is the amplification and location of your jet stream over the Eastern Pacific, and a really negative EPO dives your jet stream like this. And there's another projection through the teleconnections that we're going to have a very steep EPO again, very negative EPO, potentially with the negative NAO for those kind of winter tracks end of January again. So, you guys, it's going to be active for you guys. It's going to be fun. So enjoy it while it lasts. You don't get this much opportunity in the South. Tab, what's going on? Yale, Ali, Tad, Tim, I can't pronounce that, but I appreciate you. I don't want to butcher it. Indianapolis, Indiana. Yeah, again, we're gonna have to wait. There's no big snowstorm in your 7 to 10 day, maybe 10-day forecast. The jet stream's gonna be dipping south. You're not gonna get. We're not gonna like wake up tomorrow and there's gonna be a model run that puts a big blizzard to the Midwest. Nothing's gonna cut through this inevitable jet stream diving. So it's just not how it works. But end of January, it looks like we could get the Midwest, Central Plains, maybe up towards our northern plains involved again, maybe Ohio. I mean, yeah, it will probably pull off of the East Coast a tiny bit. Chrissy, Tanner, Brad, I appreciate you guys. Chick, I appreciate you. Yeah, Southern Bama is going to be getting involved next week in some snow, I think. I'm not going to promise it. We have to. There's a chance it pulls the snow off the coast. There's a chance it pushes it a little bit to the north. Although there's a lot of consensus it's going to be very, very far south in those states at this point. I don't trust any of the other people here. Thanks, Kendra. What happened to Tennessee getting snow in this storm? Well, when was Tennessee getting snow in the storm? Oh, like a week and a half ago. Remember, this is why I tell people when I do videos or when we're looking at stuff out here, right? So this is within 100 to 120 hours. And we have model consensus on it. So this is getting into the range where you're like, okay, this snow could still shift north or south, but it's not going to shift a crazy amount. When we were talking about a potential another snowstorm out here, I said, I have confidence there was strong agreeability in the cold air troughing, which, by the way, it's inevitable now. This cold air troughing is what we were talking about almost a week ago. And it's still here. The models are good at seeing troughing ridging patterns way farther out than they are at seeing where snow is going to fall. So I said there's another chance for a southern snowstorm. I would never, over 96 to 120 hours out, tell anyone that you're going to see snow somewhere, or exactly where it's going to fall locally or even statewide, because that's enough time for, first of all, you need some energies, pieces of energies to be working together and the timing to be right, to get that convection forming, along a frontal boundary or with a negatively tilted trough. So there was potential, and there is, and it's actually weirdly way farther south than we thought, because this trough is just amplified a little bit more than we thought, or it looks to be way more amplified than we thought. Colder air than we even originally thought, which is a lot of times it goes the opposite way. I still think it might pull back a little bit, though. Tad and Yale, I appreciate you guys. The Weather Channel, our local meteorologist. Let's see here. How's New Jersey looking? Well, if the GFS is correct, New Jersey could see a lot of snow on Sunday, but I'm leaning Euro, 1 to 3 inches through Jersey. You could get a surprise for somewhere. Appreciate you, Tanner. Thank you guys. Thank you to anyone who's followed, gifted, just being in here, engaging, guys. I've had a very long week, but I really wanted to get on and stream because I enjoy doing this, because you guys, I don't know what is going to happen with TikTok, but I will. I'm streaming on YouTube and TikTok right now. I'm streaming on both, multi-streaming. So I'll be over on YouTube if anything happens. The link's in my bio. I'm nervous, though. I think we might know tomorrow, though. That's what the latest I heard, that Supreme Court put in another opinion day, So, and that the can might be kicked down the road. Tanner, Tad, Ali, Tad, thank you guys. Dallas, Fort Worth. Again, there's enough time. There's enough time with this system right now. There's enough. Let me just show you it this way. Let's go here. Actually, here's the best way to show you guys what could still happen. This is the Euro Ensemble. So this isn't one model run. This is multiple model runs. The odds of an inch or more of snow, let's just do in the next 5 days. Notice look where the Euro Ensembles think snow could fall. Over an inch of accumulation, not just flakes. Over an inch of accumulation. What that tells me is there are some model runs of the Euro that bring the snow in up here. Because if there weren't any model runs of the Eurodut will do like 100 runs, and this will average out all the runs. If there were no runs that put snow up here through Charlotte, Atlanta, Birmingham, farthest to the north, then the Euro would not have any coloration up here. It would not even be considered that there's a chance up there. This shows me right here, actually, and I can show you the panels. I can show you all the runs. This is also interesting. It's going to be small for you guys, though. Here we go. I mean, I could right now, right here, okay? This run of the Euro wants to put 6 inches to a foot down from Atlanta through South Carolina to Charlotte. This model, now, again, this is one model run. This one run right here. It ran through the algorithm, and this one came out like that. You have this model right here that wants to move the snow line north. You have this model right here that wants to move the snow line north and put snow into Dallas. You have this line here that wants to move the snow line north. A lot of them do keep it south. You have some that want to tilt it and put it up through the Mid-Atlantic. This one wants to kind of really tilt it and put it up through the Mid-Atlantic. So these are all the members, all of the runs, and the model run we kind of see on pivotal weather is like what they would consider the most accurate run, but it's not always the most accurate run. Sometimes these other runs are more accurate. Tad, I appreciate you. Tad, thank you. Lucas, Uncle. Tad, you're popping off. Thank you, guys. But what this represents, that's what this possibilities does when we look at it here. Weather's complicated. This is a way we can look at it and say, okay, all of the runs averaged out, here's our chances, our realistic chances. You still 20 to almost 40% chance Charlotte through Atlanta, through Birmingham, through Dallas almost. 20 to 40% chance still. That's not like a 2-3% chance. That's almost half. So there are models that want to bring this up, but the confidence down here is also crazy. I mean, we're talking like 60 to 70% chance in here for an inch or more of accumulation. I think that's a little off on the coast here. I mean, this whole thing is 50 to 60% chance. It's pretty wild. If we go to 3 inches or more, it thinks that, areas down here could see 3 or more inches of. If we saw 3 inches of accumulation right on the Gulf, wow, that would be something. But that's kind of a good way to look at it. Really quickly, I'll show you what our GFS thinks as well. Our GFS ensemble. Our Canadian's going to be crazy with it. I don't even think I should show you that. Here's our 1 inch on our GFS. Look at that. Still has everything included. GFS still thinks also that this system can move a little bit to the north. Our Canadian is going to show crazy things. Our Canadian right now thinks there's a 100% chance of snow accumulation in Dallas. Like the Canadian's acting wild. But again, the Canadian shows the storm potentially shifting north as well. So you can't look at one model run and say that's going to happen. Everyone holds on to the latest model run they see, but that's just not how weather works. Our troposphere, our atmosphere where all our weather happens, they say it's the second most variable piece of atmosphere in our galaxy other than Jupiter. There's so much going on constantly. It's constantly moving and changing. It's not static. So that's why we have these models that'll run 500 times and try to average out the models. But there's always the possibility of a shift north or south, really until you get about 24 hours in when the time frame just doesn't work for it. Bam, Crystal Lucas, I appreciate the sub. Thank you, Lucas. I'm getting in a sub only chat probably about 20-30 minutes. Crystal, I appreciate you. Don't you say it's coming north? Yeah, North Mississippi got a decent amount last time. I don't know if it'll go that far north. Which model do you agree with the most right now? I would have to lean slightly Euro, although the GFS does better when it's in the south. I don't know if the GFS can be right in the south sometimes. So, like I said, with our last snowstorm, the GFS actually saw the snowstorm, our last southern snowstorm. It picked it up like 220 hours out. In the Euro, it didn't pick it up until like 120 hours out. So the GFS does a pretty good job down there. The Euro does a much better job with cold air and snow up here to the north. The GFS just knows what it's doing once it gets down near the subtropics. I agree with the Canadian model. Yeah, Nate, if the Canadian model happened, I'm not going to lie, the meteorology nerd in me would be excited just because it would be such a historic event. But I'd also be very nervous for a lot of people because it would potentially, especially you don't want something like that moving through, Western North Carolina after, there's a lot of people that still don't have homes there. So I probably wouldn't wish for that. But it would be quite the historic event if the Canadian was right. I can tell you that. Southeastern Virginia. Well, Southeastern Virginia has a chance to get snow on all these models, not just once, but twice moving forward. So, Southeastern Virginia could get involved, especially with any shift north. Do you think East Tennessee sees any more snow? All right, guys. I've been saying this since late December. January, yeah, like through the end of January, we're going to have an active storm track out east. Yeah, so definitely. I think we'll have to see what happens in February. But, everyone's even after this snowstorm right here, everyone's still in play. You can see right here, this is just looking a little bit farther out in the Euro. The Euro wants snow down south again right after it, a little snow, and then potentially right up the coast, and then potentially something that comes south again. I mean, we're not going to look out that far, but the pattern, the atmospheric setup is just good for chances down there multiple times. And at least the Rockies are getting back in on a little bit of this action because people have been like getting on me in my inbox. You never talk about the West. You never talk about the West. I'm like, the West has been dry and above average. It's been the only thing. I shouldn't use the word exciting. The only thing interesting going on out west has been the wildfires because the weather has been, when it comes to like precipitation, storms, it's just been, we can go here and look. Moving forward, let's look at our precip. Look at the West. Here, look. End of January, maybe we'll get a little something spicy happening out here. It's just when you have a jet stream that literally almost for the majority of December and January, our jet stream has been doing this. When the jet stream does this, this is called a trough. This is going to be associated with cold air and moisture and storms. This is a ridge. This is associated with drier than average conditions, warm air, and no storms. So, all the 90% of all your weather is going to be interesting weather is going to be out here. So yeah, I've been talking about the East a lot, but if there was a huge atmospheric river that kicked back in and a big, massive blizzard coming through here, I promise you, I'd be talking about the West. I promise you. Or snow pushing back down into Arizona and New Mexico. They'll get good snow this weekend out there. I honestly believe that the globe is trying to cool itself down, and the winter we are having is only going to evolve every winter. Well, listen, a lot of people think, as the, whether, I don't want to get into the whole discussion of global warming, climate change, and that type of stuff, because it just makes everyone mad. But the Earth's warming like it always does. We're in an interglacial period. We were in an ice age. We're technically still in an ice age. If there's ice on the planet, it's called an ice age. But we're in an interglacial period. So the Earth, this is the 7th time. Like the Earth has warmed up like this 6 separate times before humans even existed. You have an ice age. The ice melts. The Earth warms. All the polar ice caps melt. The waters rise. The waters cool. You enter another ice age. The Earth just goes through cycles. So the Earth would be warming right now, whether we were on it or not. The question with global warming, climate change, is how much are we speeding up the warming? That's the actual question in it. Not because the Earth is supposed to be warming. If the Earth was actually cooling, that would be an issue because the Earth is the Earth is supposed to be warming. You could erase people off the planet, it would continue to warm. But the question of climate change and everything is are humans speeding up the warming? That's the whole argument. But regardless of that, as the Earth warms, people think, oh, we're suddenly going to get less snow. No. The Earth has warmed about 2 degrees Fahrenheit in the last 200 years. That has moved the snow line like 50 miles north. What it's done, though, as the Earth warms, is it creates a lot more evaporation. It puts a lot more moisture and a lot more energy into the atmosphere. Although we've had a lot of snow droughts in the U.S., talk to people in Japan or the Alps or the Pyrenees in Italy. Or there are so many places on planet Earth that have been getting record snows over the last decades. Certain areas of the climate will get more or less, but overall more snow has fallen. And that's because there's more moisture in the air. You get and you really the Earth is warming, but not at a speed that's going to suddenly shoot the snow line far to the north. Hence, we could get snow in freaking Mobile, Alabama on Tuesday, right? Everyone's like, we're never going to get snow down there again. Yes, you will. The snow line's barely moving, and you're going to see more moisture in the air. We're not going to be in snow droughts forever. I told everyone, at the beginning when I made my video talking about how I think we could get a southern snowstorm in the end of December, and everyone got defensive. They're like, "No, we're never going to see snow in Atlanta again." And I was like, "No, that's wrong. You're just on a drought. That's normal. That's what happens." So I just want to make sure no one's, you're going to get snow. If you've been in a drought for a while and you're a snow lover, it's coming back, and sometimes it comes back a lot heavier than you expect it to. We'll see what happens through the end of January because with this winter storm track, with this outlook moving forward through the next 3 weeks, it's fair game for everyone. So hopefully you guys don't get too unlucky if you're a big snow lover. How believable is the current Canadian? I have 2% chance it happens. Yeah, the Canadian almost never gets it correct. Yeah. I think the weather changes are due to the magnetic field changes. Yeah, our poles are supposed to kind of swap soon, right? I've heard some stuff about that. I don't know. There's probably some linkage there, but I'd have to do more research. How far in advance do you predict for February? I should have already put out my February outlook. I should do it like tomorrow. You can look at like troughing, like where we expect the jet stream to kind of set up based on our Enzo, and you can look at where you expect more moisture or less moisture based on our Madden-Julian oscillation, which is just a big pocket of moisture that rotates around the globe once every basically season. There's a bunch of things you can look at. So I'm going to put out a little bit of of a outlook here in a day or two, probably on what I expect February to be like. Right now, I expect the East to finally warm up in February. I've said it before. We'll have to see it. I might change my mind, but I've been consistently saying I do think the Northern Plains is going to have a good February, and then the Southwest will get back in on a little bit of the action as well. So, and I'll explain why in my video. What do you think the chances are for a big snow for New York, Long Island, Sunday? A big snow, I think the chances for accumulating snow are extremely high. Big snow, I think, is low. I think if you got away with 4 inches, you should be like thanking the snow gods. But who knows? Like I said, the GFS sometimes bullies the Euro. Every now and then, when you don't want to ever believe the GFS, it's completely right, and you're like, what just happened? What are the odds Houston sees snow? Well, I can tell you what our best snow model thinks the odds of Houston seeing snow is. Let's see. I want to make sure I get the exact location of Houston right. Okay. Our Euro gives Houston a 40 to a 60% chance of seeing an inch or more of accumulation. I think that's high. But who am I to argue with the Euro, right? This is like 100 different runs, ensembles blended together. So, but that still gives you a 40 to 50% chance of not getting any. Jojo and Jen, I appreciate you guys. This will be a good year for adjusters. I think so. How do I feel about the icon for this? I haven't even looked at the icon recently. What the heck is the icon doing? Oh, the icon 00Z is coming out, guys. Interesting. Okay. This is interesting. Let me look at the 18Z real quick. Oh, wow. Whoa. What is this? Why didn't no one chat? Why didn't no one tell me to look at this? Listen, the icon's not another fantastic model, but I'd still pick it over the Canadian. What is this? This would make the Eagles Rams game a blizzard. This isn't going to happen. I don't want to say isn't. I give it like a 10% chance. That might even be high. What does our national blended models say for Sunday? Let me really quickly just zoom in here, guys. 1 second. Regions, Northeast. Actually, Mid-Atlantic. Well, Northeast. Because our national blended models is going to give us probably our best guesstimation. Okay, our national blended models is actually being kind of bullish too. You can see a widespread 3 to almost 5 inches through some areas here. 3 to 4 really through here. And that averages out even models that give us snow. It includes them in the formula there. Huh. That's interesting. What's our Euro ensemble see? And our GFS ensemble. Oh, interesting. The Euro or the GFS sees kind of what the icon sees and a little bit more of a bullish band of snow right in here. All right. Well, I don't think the icon is going to happen, but I didn't even yet. Well, the new icon's loading right now. We're about to see if I can almost guarantee you it pulls away from that. I can almost guarantee you right now it's loading. I'll show you. I can almost guarantee you it's going to pull away from that. We'll let it load here for a second and we'll go back to it. We looked at it earlier, and I just don't see anything tilting. I don't see anything just suddenly, bombing that low pressure out. I don't know. I don't see it. Chicky, Aiden, Christine, King, Cody, I appreciate you guys. And again, I would love that icon to happen. I'm in Philly. Everyone's always like, you just talk about your area. I'm like, no. I would love the icon to be real there. I'm realistic, guys. Monica Rose, I appreciate you. I have before. I mean, it's inevitable. Everyone's gonna get it wrong every now and then. I have once before been like, there's no chance, and been completely wrong. But listen, when you stare at these models every single day, I kind of have a little bit better understanding of what's BS and what's not. Flash, I appreciate you. Simply, my trip was fun. First time in Pittsburgh and Baltimore, actually. And it was just, I got like 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. I got 4 hours of sleep last night, too. I drove from Pittsburgh this morning to Baltimore, up to Philly. So I am tired. But it was cool. I got to see 2 new cities. And I was traveling for work, so I didn't have to spend any money. That was probably the best part. You travel for work, the company picks it up. That was nice. That was nice. Please tell it to shift north to Texarkana. We need snow. It's not an impossibility that it could shift north. It is not an impossibility. Middle Georgia, again, not an impossibility. We see this shift slightly north. We'll know the 00Z. We're about to be in our 96-hour time frame, which is what a lot of meteorologists would consider forecasting time frame. So that's why the 00Z tonight. I think every 00Z is important when I'm getting excited about a snowstorm. But once you get into the 96-hour forecasting range, you should really have an understanding of what region you expect to be affected. Start looking more local. So tomorrow we'll have that. We'll be in that 96-hour time frame for the southern snowstorm, guys. Right? We'll be close. Tomorrow 12Z. But we'll be down about 100 in the morning. So what are the odds Middle Georgia gets a lot of snow? See, this is why I love going back here, because I hate answering what are the odds, because it's just such a complicated question. But luckily for me, this will do it for me. What are the odds that Middle Georgia sees accumulation an inch or more? Well, somewhere between 30 to 50%. Depending on where you are. The farther central you are, the higher up it goes. What's it looking like in DMV? Yeah, I mean, they want to give you a 60 to 80% chance of seeing an inch more of accumulation on Sunday. So all those models we were just looking at, including the National Blend, wanted to put a decent amount of snow, 2 to 3 down through the DMV. Yeah. Will Corpus Christi see any snow? You guys are like way down there. I think you're more likely to see ice. It's not impossible you see snow. Let me show you guys the ice potential here. By the way, I should have done this a while ago. Bad Connor. We need to talk about dangerous stuff. All right. This wouldn't be too bad over here in Texas. We don't want to get over a quarter inch. We still have to, if you're down there in southern Texas, I would be thinking about some bottled water and some food in case you get your power knocked out, because ice will knock your power out real quickly if you have your power lines above ground, which actually a lot of people on the coast now don't. A lot of them are underground because of hurricanes. Hurricane Wilma, when it went over my house down here in, what was it, 05, they put all the power lines underground. We didn't have power for a month. This ice out here through Florida, through basically Tallahassee down to Gainesville, up towards Jacksonville, and then Savannah, Georgia. That is concerning. Half inch to an inch of ice. That is very, very concerning. So that's something, if you're in that area, that you need to watch closely. You guys don't have fuel heated houses down there, I don't think. So you've got to get extra fuel. But you may want some batteries, some extra bottled water, some food in case you get ice all over the roads, you can't leave your house, and you have no power with something like this. We'll wait a little bit, 24 to 48 hours. We'll see this ice line shift, I can almost guarantee you. But once you get within 48 hours out, you're going to want to make a plan if you see this type of look with a half inch to an inch of ice. This is ice storms are dangerous if you haven't been in one. Half inch of ice over a wide span. It's like putting a bunch of elephants on top of something. It's extremely heavy. So it knocks down trees and power lines very easily. What are the odds of next snowstorm going up the coast? Yeah, the problem with, because this, I would love that. I would love for this snowstorm right here to just tilt and go up the coast. We haven't seen any sort of mechanism up here to the north that would assist with that through all of these model runs. I guess you could say this piece of energy to the north here, if it slowed down significantly and was diving in behind here, behind this, because this is going to be our snow right here. Then you would get a tilting system up the coast. But the timing would have to, that would be a big shift in this timing. This thing would need to be like out here. So I don't know if we have enough time for that type of shift to happen. That's why I don't really have much confidence right now of a big negative tilt suddenly and a big nor'easter with that. But down the road, we do think that there could be, I mean, you can see the GFS and Euro like this type of system. That would be a big nor'easter possibly down the road. Too far out to talk about. Let's look at the icon. Does the icon still think we're going to get a foot of snow in Philly? Probably not, but we'll look. Let's look at the icon. Okay. Well, it's still being bullish, so I can already tell this is gonna be a bombing out low right here. Interesting. I just got here. I'm sure you got asked this earlier. Does Philly expect snow on Sunday? 100% expect. I'd be shocked. I'm in Philly. I'd be shocked if it didn't snow on Sunday. I'd say to expect 2 to 3 inches. Not out of the question. We get more though. Addison's, Christine, Kelly, Shane, MP, Shane. Thank you guys. Thank you for any of the follows or subs as well. I think I need 1,000. I think I need 1,000 subs on YouTube, but I don't know what I'm at. But I'm close. I'm close on there. I'm just trying to build YouTube in case, on Sunday I suddenly lose 92,000 followers on TikTok. That's so depressing to even say out loud. 903 subs on YouTube. I'm close to 1,000. Bella, I appreciate you. Shane, it's funny. I had a lot more anxiety about it before, but now I've just prepared myself for so long. I'm just like, whatever. If it happens, it happens. Let's see here. Snow in Albuquerque, New Mexico? Potentially. What are we looking like down here on our Euro? God, I want New Mexico in my Southwest. Hold up 1 second, guys. I gotta go all the way over to Texas. That wouldn't really be Albuquerque. Probably staying up to your northeast. The problem with Albuquerque is where our trough's entering the north. We're gonna have troughing. We're gonna have our jet stream setting up like this, and it's probably gonna want to keep it up into the northeastern corner. That snow. It could shift though. It could shift, and that snow could shift down to the south and west. We have enough time for that. Not out of the question. What, Angela, Shane, thank you guys. I'm hybrid. Office 3 days a week. Let's go. It's been 8 years. What's the chances Long Island and New York see a big snow for Wednesday, the 22nd and the 29th? Yeah, I don't know. Long on the 22nd, I'd say like 0. And then of course I can't give you a great chance when we're talking about something the 29th. That's like 2 weeks away. Angela, appreciate you. Chrissy, Shane. What does his word say? Thank you guys. So sad. No snow for southern Indiana. Yeah, again, the end of January, though, I think our jet stream's going to... We're seeing some consensus on, instead of our jet stream kind of being in a negative EPO at the end of January, we're seeing the potential for kind of what would be like a positive NAO type of setup, which is like this, which is when you get snow up through this region here. So end of January is not a bad outlook for the Midwest or Ohio Valley. I can tell you that. That is honesty. It's really not. Our jet stream is going to be in a much better spot for snowstorms, Ohio Valley and Midwest, at least from what we can see right now, about 10 days out, shifting. How's central, slightly northern Bama looking? See, I like when people describe where they live like that. Well, again, your Euro ensembles want to give you a 30 to 40% chance for accumulating snow on Tuesday and Wednesday. So not terrible odds down there in the south. Angela, I appreciate you. Thank you, Angela. Possibility of a third snow in the south. I want to say like 20-30% chance, which is like high for a third snow in the south. Yeah, no, I mean it's not out of the question. Like I said early January when we had our first one setting up, I said I actually think we're almost guaranteed two and maybe a third. So I would love if that prediction came right. And I said in the month of January. But guys, that wasn't hard to tell. We were going into a negative AO, negative Arctic oscillation, polar jet slowing. Everyone, for everyone in chat, I love you all in chat. I just want to clarify something. Because I always hear people in my comment, like there's always some, there's always going to be some trolls, rude people in the comment section. Someone's like in my comment section was like, you said the polar jet was strengthening, but then it was, they said then it was like 70 degrees in Iowa. And I'm like, well, yeah, if the polar jet is really strong, that means it's going to be warmer down here in the lower 48. If the polar jet is really strong, that means that the polar jet is like a force field of winds that holds in the Arctic air. The problem you have is when the polar jet is weak, because then that force field of air weakens, and that cold air from the Arctic dips down into the lower 48. So a strong polar jet means a warmer U.S. typically. A weak polar jet. That's why people are like, oh, it's going to be the super strong polar jet. I'm like, well, that means it's going to be hot for us. You want that thing to be weak. And that happens when you get a lot of heat and high pressure building up in the Arctic, which has been happening a lot in January for us. How much will Philly get? I best guesstimate 2 to 3 right now. That's my honest. It's not impossible we get more. You have the GFS and the Icon wanting more. So Europe, your Euro is going to be your best model on that, but the GFS and Icon do want more, so it's not impossible you see more than that. How accurate are temperatures 2 to 3 weeks out? I think from a broad regional basis, temperatures can be very accurate almost 2 weeks out. A week and a half they can be. So what I mean by that is like if you zoom out here, so what's happening with our, let's go up here, temperature anomaly. This big, you see all that, these purples and whites, this huge Arctic outbreak we're about to have. I mean, this is significant. We saw this. We saw all the models agree on this over 10 days ago, almost 2 weeks ago. And I told everyone, I said, even I know we're like 2 weeks out, but I have high confidence it's going to happen. The models are great with seeing big, broad events because these things are, big high pressures lows that are moving. It's really hard to forecast on a local level. Like how much snow am I going to see in Richmond, Virginia 7 days from now, down to the inch. But these events you can kind of see happening. We saw with our last snowstorm a big, a warm, around the 850 millibar level. So it was actually right above your head on the surface. We saw a bunch of warm air moving up into the Arctic. You kind of see that. You see it shifting up towards the Arctic. You're like, okay, that's gonna move up to the Arctic, kind of build a high pressure, and that is going to slow down your polar jet. What happens when you slow down your polar jet? Cold air dips. This is a macro event like this. These models can see like 2 weeks out, but then people want us to go like this down to a super micro event and be like, where's the snow gonna fall this far out? That's like the smaller you get, the more local you get, the harder it is to forecast. So yeah, we saw this big. I mean, you guys can go back in my videos over a week. We saw this big mega chill down happening a week or two ago. So much easier to forecast temperature troughing and ridging patterns, which is temperature swings, than precipitation. Precipitation is very hard to forecast until you're within 96 hours, really within 24. Gracie, what's going on? Miss All Lives, how's everything looking for Atlanta, South Carolina, Charlotte? Yeah, I mean, look, we still think that these models still want to bring that snow to the south, but here's our latest European Ensemble percentage. What are the odds, right? So you still have the European, Canadian, and GFS all giving Charlotte through South Carolina and Atlanta about a 30 to 50% chance of seeing an inch or more of accumulation next. What would be like, I mean, here, let's move this. What would be next kind of Tuesday and Wednesday? So it's not out of the question that this snow we see forming very far to the south on the Euro could shift north. This one right here could shift north. Wait, is this the latest? Wow. That would actually put a little snow into Charlotte, even the way it looks right now. Let me see what the latest icon. Our icon loaded a little bit more. Let's see if it still wants to dump snow in the Mid-Atlantic. This great. Oh, our latest GFS is out, guys. I'm gonna go into a sub-only chat in a little bit here. Here's our latest icon. Here's our latest icon. Ready? Okay, there you go. Icon weekend. I told you guys. Here's our 18Z of the icon. Ready? 996 millibar. Here's our 18Z of the icon. How much snow did it put in the Mid-Atlantic? How much snow did it put in Philly? About 6 inches. 7 inches. How much snow does our new icon put in Philly? 4. It's so predictable, guys. It's so predictable. The icon showing you a foot of snow when every other model doesn't, it's not going to be right. And it came down to a reasonable level, 4 inches. I think that's possible. I think it's going to be less. I think it's going to be 2 to 3. But that's not a bad. It could be more. So that I can look at that icon run and say, all right, yeah, it's starting to understand what's going to happen. And our latest, guys, I'm not going to go into a sub-only chat until our GFS gets to this weekend, just so we can see if the GFS still sees a snow game for the Eagles-Rams. Okay, sorry. Guys, I'm going to do a speed round answering as many questions as possible really quickly because I haven't done it this live yet. So, okay, let me take a sip of water before I do this. Okay. Oh, did I miss a bunch of gifts? Shane, Terry, Chrissy, Yale. I think I saw that. Gaines, Addison, Shane, Angela K, Shane, Rhonda. You guys are going off. Sugar, Angela, Shane. Thank you guys. Okay, we're doing spit out. Kay, I appreciate the sub. Thank you. Yay, I appreciate you. Shane, thank you. All right, we're doing speed round. I promise. All right, Monica, Sugar, Matthew. I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna go chat to chat, YouTube to TikTok. Let's see. So since it's further south, Connor, does that mean places like Charleston, South Carolina are getting... Yeah, I mean, potentially. I mean, yeah. And the biggest thing about what we're seeing now is the model consensus. Here is your Euro. Here's your GFS. They both are... Well, we can look at our 18. They both keep it very far south. They both love snow on the beach, like Taylor Swift said, which is very interesting that they agree with snow that far south on the beach, not 5 days out when they couldn't agree on the last snowstorm 48 hours out. This is good consensus very early on. So that's good to see. Yeah, Charleston could. I mean, it's very much in play right now. Very much in play. Monica, Matthew, Derek, Michelle, I appreciate you guys. Okay, let me go quick now. And thank you for the follows and subs, guys. No chances. I think I was about to say I'm pushing up on 100K on TikTok. I don't know if it's gonna matter anyways. I hope so. Quick question: would this affect flights? Well, yeah, this would be very bad weather in the south potentially. Yeah, I mean, the southeast. Like just the cold. Yeah. Well, the cold air that could be pushing into the southeast. These airports don't have like a big defrosting, team probably. Probably ground some flights, just the cold air itself, actually. Yeah. Cindy, I appreciate you. While the Canadian model is like, I am putting snow everywhere. I know. I say it all the time. And let me just say this first. I love my Canadians, okay? To the north. But you would think the Canadian model would be good with snow forecasting. I mean, like, hello, it's Canada. It snows 9 months of the year there. I don't know how the Canadian... Like, they just don't have the money and infrastructure to build a better model, I think. Creative, I appreciate you. Snow in Kansas. Again, I think when we push it to the last week of January, 10 plus days out, this area is going to be looking better for potential snow just based on the way our jet stream is going to set up. Rita, Mom, I appreciate you. Do you think temperature will stay this cold in Houston? It's not going to stay. It's going to be a few days, but it's going to be... The wind chills we could see in Houston are crazy looking. 8 to 7 degrees The Euro wants 7-degree wind chill or colder in Houston. Think about that. 7 degrees in Houston. That would not be very good. Not impossible. That's the Euro. It's good with cold air troughing. First time snow in New Orleans, Louisiana since the early 2000s. Jake, it is possible. Again, I still wouldn't bet on it. When you're right pushed up against the water, that ocean water humidity can really want to regulate that temperature and keep it just above freezing, even when all this cold air is pushing down from the north. But it is possible, yes, with this look. Way more possible than I've seen in a very long time. What do you think about North Central Jersey for snow? Well, Sunday, I still think 1 to 3 inches is their most likely outcome. It's going to be, remember, Creative Sandra, Sandy, Creative again. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. Remember, when you see like 1 to 3, when you see like a big setup like this, there's a reason they say 1 to 3. Snow doesn't just move in like a big blanket, like everyone gets 3 inches or everyone gets 2 inches. There's parts of the storm, just like a thunderstorm. You have higher cloud tops with more convection, dumps a lot more water, lower cloud tops. Different parts of the snowstorm you're gonna have different accumulation rates, but 1 to 3 is probably your best bet. Central to northern. Ennis Tyler, yeah, we could see this thing shift north and put a little bit of snow down in there. That's still on the table. Yep. Again, I'm excited. Our 12Z tomorrow, we're going to be basically 96 hours out, and that's what a lot of meteorologists, and rightfully so would consider your forecasting range. So, yeah, I'll wait to release my video tomorrow until that 12Z's out. For sure. Addison, Creative Sarah, thank you guys. What do you think about Texas snow? I actually think we will see this. I don't know why. I just have this gut feeling we're going to see this amplify a little bit more down here. I think the snow is actually going to be a little bit heavier than it looks right now. Just based on the clash of this low that wants to develop here. I just think we're going to see a little bit. We're going to overperform somewhere down there in Texas. I really do. So, just Dallas-Fort Worth area. With this system, it's possible. It still wants to keep most of that good snow to your south. But again, we see a northern shift in these storms when we get close to the event happening all the time. All the time. It's more likely to shift north than shift south again. How bad is the snow coming into New York this weekend? Again, 1 to 3 inches widespread across the mid-Atlantic up the New England coast is most likely. We'll see what the Euro says tonight. The GFS and Icon and Canadian all want to be more bullish with it. Or GFS and Icon want to be more bullish with it. The Euro still thinking 2 to 3. But we're gonna get accumulating snow up the coast, that's for sure, into New York and Long Island. Adrian, Matthew, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for the follows, guys. What can New Jersey get from this southern system? Yeah, I still don't really see this system tilting up the coast. Not out of the question, though. Not out of the question. A lot of times what happens with the Euro is each model run, you'll see it push farther and farther actually out east. So I would expect this to be even snow less likely up there. Still in the time frame where there's a small chance. We were looking at kind of the vorticity map earlier where I don't see, you've got this piece of energy that needs to be behind it, not in front of it, to tilt that system up and give us a big nor'easter. Still possible. I'd give it about a 20% chance. Yeah. Marietta, Georgia snow. I should know where that is because I've looked it up a million times. Oh yeah, just to the north of Atlanta. Again, I think you'll actually get snow showers with this thing, even if it doesn't shift north. But for good accumulating snow, you need a pretty decent shift north, which you still have time for. Again, doesn't mean it's going to happen. Shane, I appreciate you. Matthew, I appreciate you. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. We more often than not see the snow shift north a little bit as we get closer. Doesn't always happen. Doesn't always happen. The GFS and Euro really like this corridor right here. When you start to get model consensus, you want to take it seriously. But our European ensembles and our GFS ensembles have a bunch of runs with the snow farther north. That's all I'm going to say. So it could still happen down here, but the GFS ensembles have a bunch of runs up here, and Euro ensembles and not as many down here. So that's why I think our 0-0Z tonight of the Euro and 12Z tomorrow might tell the story of if we're going to see the southern track hold or if we finally see that northern shift. Susan, Tattoo, Hampton, Justin, thank you guys. I appreciate it. See snow anytime soon in Albany, New York. I mean, yeah, we have like 4 different systems that have potential to move up and dump snow in Albany over the next 2 weeks. So I'd be shocked if you guys missed out on all those. It's possible, but the Northeast is going to have a lot of systems moving towards it. You can even see at the end of, I mean, we'll see what happens at the end of January. At the end of January, I mean, this would be a big snowstorm for Albany. So we'll see if that happens. That's a little bit wishful thinking that far out, but we'll have the pattern for something like that to happen. Susie, Erica, Susan, Yale. DJ Vic, thank you guys. Sandy. Missy, I appreciate you. Chicago, again, once we get to the last week of January into February, the jet stream looks to be set up instead of in kind of your negative EPO. More of a, you know, I'd expect, now this is tough, because we've just had a ridiculous amount of troughing out east for like 2 months straight. But I do think we're going to have a slight ridge return to the west or to the east, and I think a lot of people have been talking about this. This would allow storms to ride up through here, through the Midwest, potentially Northern Plains, Central Plains. So, you could start getting a lot more. I know people in Iowa have been begging for snow. That would be a much better look for that region. If I have the chance to travel to Charleston instead of staying near Greenville, should I do it to see snow? We got Gracie. Susan, I appreciate you. Thank you, Susan. Gracie, I think we need to wait 24 more hours on that decision. Remember, 96 hours and below, we're in forecasting range. You can't make that decision at just outside of forecasting range when we're still kind of in an outlook, because we could flip a switch and that snow could be way farther inland. But again, I mean, the Euro's a good model, and it still wants to bring some of that. I mean, you can look at what the snow line is with this latest Euro. We'll see what it is next. But the Euro wants to put snow, all the way pushing up to almost Charlotte. Like, it wants to put snow into like 70% of South Carolina. So we'll see. The GFS wants to pull it more south. All of South Carolina right now is looking really good. We're going to see this shift a tiny bit. It's not going to stay exactly like this. That's obviously, but again, expecting maybe a slightly more northern shift. I mean, South Carolina's in a great spot to probably see snow statewide, potentially. If it went a little bit farther, more inland, you might get that snow taken off the coast, but we need a little bit more time to see how this works. There's a small chance that the trough amplifies more and all that snow's off in the ocean. I think that's the least likely. That's least likely to happen, though. Jazz, Maggie, I appreciate you guys. Middle Georgia is the same thing. I mean, Middle Georgia, it does. It still wants to put snow in Middle Georgia, even if it stays far south. But a little shift to the north would greatly increase your snow totals in Middle Georgia. And when it still wants to put 2 to 4 inches, all the way up to almost Atlanta. We're at 120 hours out. I'm not gonna. That's gonna change. The exact pathing is gonna change. We still have time for that, so take that with a grain of salt. I haven't said that all stream. I usually say that a bunch. I do want to hop in my sub-only stream on TikTok for a little bit. You can join it on TikTok. It's a sub-only chat, so you can watch the stream on TikTok, but it's a chat. It's a sub-only chat because I want to be able to answer all my subs questions. I'm tired, really tired. Oh, it's been a long week. I'm gonna post a video tomorrow. Probably around. I'm gonna try to post it maybe a little bit earlier. We'll see, because I want to see the 12Z. But I'll update on all this stuff, and I'll be live again tomorrow because I'm super excited for all this stuff that's going down. We could see big snow through ending January. We could see big snow through the Ohio Valley, Central Plains, Midwest, Mid-Atlantic, New England, Southeast, New Orleans. Who knows? It's a crazy pattern. Cold air is rocking down into the Gulf. We have a negative NAO, which is active storm track in the east. This is going to be some fun stuff. Hopefully not too damaging, but it's weather, and it's always the potential for that. Maggie, I appreciate you. Kaylee, thank you to anyone who followed, gifted, just engaged. We're in here. Even just being in the chat, in the stream helps the algorithm. So thank you guys. I appreciate you spending some time here with me. Like I said, I post videos every single day on my TikTok up on these updates. So, and I stream every night. Not coming back. I appreciate the sub. I'm gonna hop off here in about 5 minutes. I'm gonna be on TikTok sub only chat, but I'll be streaming first for everyone to see. So, but thank you guys. Thank you to everyone who I always see. I appreciate you guys, and anyone who is new in here, thank you. Gracie, have a great night. And yeah, maybe I'll see you guys over in the sub only chat or tomorrow, and you can definitely I know I can't answer all the comments on my videos, and I have to answer a bunch of people in my inbox. I've just, obviously, if I eventually want to do this full time, it's not my full-time job right now, so I'm limited. I'm very stretched on time. So if I don't answer you, it's not, because I didn't want to. It's typically just because I don't have time. But all right, I appreciate all of you. Thank you.